growth only happens when we're doing hard things without certainty. And that pressure is what causes us to actually grow.
Failure is not good. In business, failure is everything. It's failing fast, failing forward. Whoever can do that the fastest, whoever can fail the most and fail the fastest is going to win. That's what it comes down to. And that comes down to taking action.
I've failed so many times. I knew that I could count on myself. Like, there's no way that I'm going to fail because I'm never going to stop. I'm either going to fail, adapt, and keep going, or I'm going to succeed until I fail again, then adapt and keep growing. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Cash Physical Therapy Headquarters podcast. So today, what we're going to be covering is one of the most important things that you have to develop as a high-performance CEO to build any sort of practice that is actually going to create you the kind of freedom and financial leverage and impact that you want to create in this world. We're covering the hard truth that certainty is the enemy of growth. So in this episode, we're going to explore the hard truth that holds too many practice owners back. Certainty and growth are opposite forces. If you want to reach the next level, whether that's $30,000 a month, $100,000 a month, or building a self-sustaining, sellable asset for yourself, you'll have to let go of needing guarantees from the world and become your own guarantee. So we're going to break down why comfort creates plateaus in business and how to break out of them, how the best cash physical therapists and other cash-based wellness entrepreneurs make decisions differently than everybody else, what it really means to bet on yourself and win. And then lastly, the mindset shift that separates struggling clinicians from the practice owners that scale to seven figures and beyond pretty effortlessly. So if you get value out of this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to everyone else. And if you're watching us live, make sure to say what's up. If you have questions, drop them below. Ben, talk to us about your relationship with certainty, because I know for a damn fact that you have taken a lot of gambles and it served you pretty dang well. What'd you do last month at ProKinetics?
232,000.
That's nuts. And that's not a fluke. How many months in a row have you been pushing that?
We're going on our fourth month that we should hit over 200,000. So
right.
It's been three months consecutively over 200,000. So we should be able to do it again.
Right. And so I remember when I talked about this at our live event in Scottsdale, where we had over 100 practice owners fly out to learn from Ben, myself, and the rest of the clinical marketer team on how to scale their practice. One of the biggest takeaways that people kept coming up to me that really woke them up was when I broke down one of the laws of leadership is that certainty and control are opposite forces, because growth only happens when we're doing hard things without certainty. And that pressure is what causes us to actually grow. It's taking the gambles that actually create success. That's why the more than half of the top Fortune 500 and 100 companies in the world were created during a recession where the risks were massive, but they took that jump anyway and they won because they're willing to take those risks. So Ben, do you have any stories or what comes to mind for you when we're talking about like making decisions that create success where it's a bit scary and you can't be certain of the outcome?
Yeah, you can't be certain of the outcome, but you can be certain of yourself if you are doing the right thing. So it comes back, are you willing to bet on yourself?
Yeah.
And that comes back to your confidence in yourself and do what you tell yourself you're going to do. Like, are you working out consistently? Are you getting the sleep that you tell yourself that you want to get? Are you able to resist the urge to eat 100 grams of sugar a day? Like eat healthy. Like, are you able to do these little things consistently throughout the day that you know that, hey, I am who I say I am, and I know I'm going to figure it out. It's essentially how confident am I in myself to be able to figure it out. And that's where a lot of more certainty that you can gain is that in of yourself. And I think that's helped me a lot with growing and scaling and making those jumps when things, did look uncertain, was just that confidence I had in myself because I had proven myself that, even though it has nothing to do with related business, I knew that I went to the gym consistently. I got my sleep. I was able to eat healthy. I did all these things that reinforce that, hey, if I can do these things, I know I can trust myself in these other situations with business. And so I think that's where a lot of certainty that I've gained come from. But there was tons of times that there's a lot of uncertainty with the business and ProKinetics. Within 18 months of opening up, pandemic hit, and I had to make a judgment call like, hey, do we really want to keep doing this, or do I want to actually move back to Iowa and be closer to friends and family and just start it up there? I was out in the Bay Area at the time, for those that don't know, and had my practice for about 18 months, and the pandemic hit, and I had to make kind of a judgment call. Hey, do I want to just scrap all this, or do I want to continue to bet on myself that I'll figure this out? And I decided, hey, I put 18 months of my life into this location. We're going to figure it out. And there's a lot of uncertainty there. So, yeah, so that's kind of
Right.
my story on that.
Right. There's a direct correlation between how much uncertainty you can handle and how successful you are in business. Because what separates employees from people who go and start their businesses is that degree of I'm willing to have this uncertainty that this business is going to work out and I'm going to do it anyway. People who aren't willing to have and struggle through that uncertainty, they're employees. And so it goes to show that the more uncertainty you can handle, the more risks you're willing to take. And if you're listening right now, who do you think is in a better position to put themselves, their businesses, their families in a better position than the person who's willing to take the bigger risks and who are willing to fail and learn from those risks? Like, which one of those two people are more likely to grow and succeed faster, right? Because the trap that most people get stuck in, whether they're employees or started their own business, is they're comfortable. Things are good enough and they're afraid to break those things, not realizing like the massive opportunity cost that they have by not making strategic, not risky, but maybe rash decisions, like investing in a coaching program. I remember for years, I ran, our first business. It was the Misfit agency. And then there was Lead Gen RX. Those were our first agencies. And for years, like we ran that and things were like, okay, we're doing $10,000 to $15,000 a month. And I didn't want to invest in any coaching because it was like, that's going to cost like half of the money that I made each month. And we didn't have like the margins to be able to comfortably do that. And to me, it was like, yeah, I have a self-sustaining thing that I built. Okay. Like I don't want to break it. And so I was comfortable, but I didn't realize the magnitude of what I was actually giving up by not taking bigger risks until it got to the point where things were so bad. Things were going through peaks and valleys and we weren't making any money. And I got so frustrated that it got to the point where, okay, I have to get help. I have to invest in mentorship, but I couldn't afford it. The program was $10,000 and I barely had any money in my pocket. I was barely affording groceries at the time. But because I had taken so many gambles already, I've failed so many times, I knew that I could count on myself. Like there's no way that I'm going to fail because I'm never going to stop. I'm either going to fail, adapt, and keep going, or I'm going to succeed until I fail again, then adapt and keep growing. Like those are the only two options. Had no outs. Success was the only option that I had. And so I got resourceful. I found the money and I invested in it. And then 2 months later, I was doing $30,000 a month and then continued to grow and grow and grow and grow. And because of that decision, the impact that our new company, Clinical Marketer, has had on both the physical therapy profession, the chiropractic profession, functional medicine, and direct primary care is massive. But none of those things would have happened if I didn't get out of my comfort zone and make the commitment to myself that I was going to buy a program, even though there were no guarantees. I was my own guarantee on that choice. And so, Ben, what do you feel like? How do we get people out of their comfort zone and start to realize like things might be good, but they're like the opportunity cost of not making moves is massive?
I don't know. I think it just goes back to like, what do you want for yourself in your life? Like my biggest fear is like laying on my deathbed, telling myself, why didn't I gamble? Why didn't I go for it?
Yeah.
Why did I opt for this cushion life? And actually it wasn't cushion at all. It was miserable because I knew in the back of my mind, I wasn't challenging myself and growing in the way that I knew I was possible. There's like a saying, what is it, that the paycheck that you receive is essentially what it costs for you to give up on your dreams. Like that's what you're trading, is by not being able to gamble on or bet on yourself. That's what you're trading, is a paycheck to give up on your dreams of what you could actually be and what you could manifest yourself into being. And that's really resonated with me. And I think it just goes back to what you want for your life. Like
right.
that doesn't do it for you. I don't know what will. And maybe you're okay with you're like, hey, actually, no, I'm fine with where I'm at, and that's not a concern of mine. Hey, maybe you shouldn't start a business then. But if you really want something more for yourself and you really want to see what you're actually made of and test that and figure that out, then do it.
Right. So I think it's important to look at like when you're taking risks, like what's actually the worst case scenario in business? Like if you bet on yourself and everything fails and nothing works out, well, then you can go get a job. Like you've already developed those skill sets as a business owner and at least trying. You're already more equipped to succeed than the average employee. If it doesn't work out, you can go get a better paying job because you have a new set of skills. And so the worst case scenario isn't that bad. Okay. Most of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world, they have gone bankrupt multiple times and started over. But each and every single time they started over, they grew faster and succeeded more because of the skill sets that they gained from the previous experience that they have. And so the idea of failure, we have to change our relationship with so that we can be more comfortable in taking those risks. And I think it's also really important to actually analyze the opportunity cost, because maybe you're happy at $20,000 a month, but it's been your goal to get to $50,000 a month for the last year. Well, that's a $30,000 delta. And so it's costing you $30,000 every single month that you don't know how to get to $50,000 a month. And so the opportunity cost should create some level of urgency for you to unlock that next skill set. And in order to unlock that next skill set, that means that we have to let go of control, because growth can only happen when we let go, we try something, we see how it works, and then we start adapting it. That's where the analogy, like, jump off the cliff and then build the airplane on your way down. Okay, that is letting go of control. And the growth comes from making the adjustments and learning on your way down to catch your wind.
I think it's so hard for PTs to do it as well, because we're just taught so much that, hey, we need to be striving for A's, it needs to be perfect. You know, failure is not good. In business, failure is everything. It's failing fast, failing forward. Whoever can do that the fastest, whoever can fail the most and fail the fastest is going to win. That's what it comes down to. And that comes down to taking action. Who's taking action the fastest, despite those fears, despite those concerns, despite that uncertainty? That's who's going to win. And so I challenge you that actually the faster you can fail, and you failing is actually a good sign that you're actually pushing yourself.
100%. And that's actually leads into the next point, like how the best practice owners make decisions differently than everyone else. They're not just taking like rash decisions. They're taking calculated risks where they're looking at their data. They're analyzing what is the greatest constraint right now? What am I currently doing to overcome that constraint? How likely is it that my current plan is actually going to overcome that constraint? And then making an educated choice of, is this something that I should go and pay someone else to show me how to overcome? Because the current rate of growth that I'm experiencing trying it on my own isn't working. And so they're taking those calculated risks, finding the right person to help them develop that skill set to overcome that constraint. And then they're making that investment. Even though it might be a large investment, they see it not just as a guarantee that this program is going to solve my problems. Their guarantee is, I know I'm going to learn something that's going to help me make more than this over the span of my career. I'm going to take something out of this that's going to help me win, whether I get the result right away or not. It's something that I'm going to make sure works, because I'm going to show up. I'm going to do the work. I'm going to learn something. I'm going to adapt to make sure that I get my money's worth.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, is that belief. And there's always going to be, no matter, I think some people think that, oh, you know, maybe the first year of business will be hard. I won't know exactly what I need to be doing. There'll be a lot of uncertainty. No, that's continuous. There's a lot of uncertainty with where I'm at too. And that's because you should be continuously pushing. And those that are pushing themselves, there's a lot of uncertainty that's going to occur. And it doesn't stop if you're pushing yourself.
Ever. It doesn't stop. It never stops. Because if you're doing it right, and if you're playing business as the game that it is, and you're playing to win, you're tracking your numbers, you're analyzing that data, you're deciding what needs to be improved first. And then that means you're always trying something new to overcome whatever that greatest constraint is. And so you're in a perpetual state of uncertainty if you're always growing. If you're not in a level of uncertainty, that means you're not growing. And it means you're stuck. And if you're stuck, that means you're actually plateauing or regressing, and you're dying. And so anytime you're not growing, you're losing to other people, because there's always going to be someone else, a competitor, whatever it might be, who is working harder than you, and they're willing to take bigger risks than you, and they're going to dominate you because they're willing to accelerate their rate of failure, which is really all success is. It's just accelerating your failure rate.
Yeah, I think it's also important to put yourself in positions that forces you to grow. Honestly, the last like 3 or 4 months, I've gotten a little bit softer. Like it's been really easy 3 or 4 months. And in the last 21 days, I put an offer on a large property that I technically cannot afford right now for investment property. And I did that to kind of give myself a kick in the ass that, hey, you need to keep pushing the business faster and harder than what we have the last 3 or 4 months. Because even though it's been going really well, I need to drum up more cash than what we've done the last 3 or 4 months. And I did that on purpose to make myself uncomfortable, So I would actually take action and start growing the business at the same rate that we've been pushing the last 6 months. But I got comfortable, been really comfortable the last 5 or 6 months. And so I did that to kind of give myself a kick in the ass to do it. And sometimes that's just what it takes and what needs to happen to force yourself to do it. So
100%. I did the same thing. I just invested in a new coaching program that's just for me. It's to help me sharpen my sales abilities, which are already really good. I mean, close rates are really, really good on all of our programs. But I know that in order to get where I want to go, not only do I need to get better at certain things in there, but I also need to learn how to lead other sales people. I need to know how to train people, how to help them reach their greatest potential. And so I invested in a program and I paid in full, not because it was convenient, but because it was uncomfortable. Because one thing that's true in business and in sales is the objections that you give to other people when making a buying decision are the objections that you get and that you can't overcome because you agree with that person. When you're buying something and you give, I got to talk to my spouse, I need to think about it, I just got to go and look at my numbers. Those are the objections that I guarantee your patients are giving you. And you are failing at overcoming those objections because you've never gone through the discomfort of making those decisions anyway. And so I purchased a program upfront and in full because of the discomfort that it caused me, so that when I'm trying to help other people, I can help guide them through that discomfort. And so honestly, your ability to handle discomfort is what ultimately makes somebody a leader. And if you're unable to make those commitments and live and thrive in that uncertainty, no one is going to follow you, which is going to make it really hard to not only make sales, but it's going to be really hard to attract good people on your team who are actually going to stick around because they see you as a great leader that can help them navigate their own uncertainty in life.
yeah, that's huge for leadership. Like there's gonna be times that especially if you want to grow and scale and you build a team and they see you get flustered, they see you get, anxious and not confident, that's gonna be reflected on their work too and their certainty on your business. We had to take on this. We moved on into a much larger space in Oakland, and I was nervous, but I didn't make it seem like I was nervous. But I had to it was the overhead we tripled our overhead. And I know some of the team was a little bit nervous about hey, how's the business going to do? But I just made it seem like cool, calm, collected. And we've been in this space for over 6 months now, and it's going great. And so by doing that stuff and betting on yourself and betting on your business, your team members are going to see that too. And I guarantee, I haven't asked them, but I guarantee the trust that my team has in me after watching me go through what we had with that larger overhead, building out the space, making sure everything is great, doing it very quickly, and just the whole process that went with it. Right. I guarantee it built a lot of trust with my team that they have in me and in business now. And so you have to be able to bet on yourself if you want others to bet on you too.
Right. And I see this all the time when people are considering investing in clinical marketer or just coaching in general. Everyone wants guarantees. They want certainty. They want to give away the responsibility of being successful. And so what it really means to bet on yourself and win is not needing guarantees in life. It is being your own guarantee, where you know for a fact that whether you want to do something or not, you are going to do it with the best of your ability. You're going to show up, you're going to learn, and you are going to make it a successful experience. Whether you get the intended outcome out of it or you learn something really important that's going to help your next risk or the next decision you make that has some uncertainty, you're able to do so from a position of a little bit more clarity around what it is that you need and what you're looking for. And so every single thing is an opportunity because you're going to give it your all. You're going to learn and take that lesson and apply it to the next decision or risk that you're going to be taking in business. And so that's what it really means to bet on yourself and to make sure that you're going to win. It's not finding the place that's going to give the best guarantees. It's who you are as an individual and how determined you are to make every single thing you do succeed.
Yeah, it was always funny to me too. And I was doing, I don't know, this is 3 years ago. I was doing sales calls occasionally for a clinical marketer, and you get a really good sense of who's actually going to succeed and who's going to really struggle. And it was a yellow flag whenever somebody always asked about the guarantee. And then I would let them know well, we've had over 100 people go through through this program. Why do you feel like it won't work for you? Well, no, I just want a guarantee. Now it's a red flag. Now they admitted that they don't want to assume any responsibility, even though this has worked for over 100 people. That tells me they don't have the confidence in themselves to follow through.
More than 600 people.
Yeah. Well, at that time, I think it was 100. But yeah, it's just like, if it's worked for 500 plus people, why wouldn't this work for you unless you're not willing to follow through on this? So
right. It comes down to work ethic. So I always ask them, it's like, okay, so this person was able to get this level of results. We gave them this accountability, these resources, and this level of support. Now, their work ethic was a 10 out of 10. Like, what's your work ethic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if we gave you the exact same support, resources, and training as this person got, and you're an 8 out of 10, do you feel like you're going to be able to get the results even a little bit less than that person did? And it's like, are you willing to get uncomfortable and develop the skills that are going to cause you to be successful? And so many people are just so reluctant to develop that skill set because they feel uncomfortable about it. They're so confident in their clinical skills and they're so used to being put on this pedestal of being a doctor that doing anything that they suck at, they avoid at all costs. They don't want to do it. They don't want to feel like a beginner again. And it keeps them from unlocking that next level of success that they're after.
Yeah, it challenges their ego. It challenges their ego and challenges everything that they think they are. The really interesting story, we had a physical therapist that started with us. He was the most qualified PT that we've ever hired on. He was a fellow in manual therapy, OCS, SCS, and he only lasted for 6 months. And it's because his ego was challenged. We send out KPIs like conversion rate and retention of team members. And we had a new grad hired on at the time, and we sent out KPIs, and that new grad was doing better at conversions and retention than he was. And then he started challenging us like, well, why are we tracking KPIs? Like, this is like my other business, we never tracked any of these KPIs. Like, it's all about numbers, it seems like, for this company and stuff like that. I'm like, no, your ego is just challenged. Your ego is challenged because you've been told over and over again, and you've told yourself over and over again that these qualifications are what make you a great PT. But then you have a new grad come in and do better than you. That's what the issue was. And it was just challenges the ego. And some people fold at that. Some people will rise up to it. Some people will fold. And so that's what separates people. And so it's really interesting to see. That's what we see with clinic owners too. You've got to be able to suck at it a bit. Yeah.
And that leads into our final point, the mindset shift that separates struggling clinicians from 7-figure business owners. And it's exactly that. It's their ability to let go of their ego and airdrop themselves into the part of the business that is struggling the most, even if it's something that they're not good at. Because if their team isn't good at it and they're not good at it, well, who the hell is going to solve that problem? Okay, it is up to the CEO to be the man or the woman that holds the map for the company and leads it to the destination. And so the CEOs that build the most successful businesses, they understand this and they build their practice in a way that gets their time back so that their job can be spent leading the team and airdropping themselves into the part of the business that is struggling the most and becoming a master of that process. Because only once you are a master of that process can you effectively delegate it and lead a team to be successful within that department. I know you recently did that, Ben.
Yeah, so that's the thing is I can't start hand off more leadership responsibilities. That's one thing that over the last 2 years, especially leading remotely, is so tough. Yeah. Leading 3 locations remotely is tough. And so learned a lot of different things about leadership and so got really good at that. And now is able to hand that off like to clinic directors. Like, this is what the meeting frequency of this looks like. This is how to make sure people are supported. This is how to communicate on how things are going for somebody, what they're doing well, then how to communicate if they're not doing things well, and how to coach them and make them feel supported and make sure that you're helping them grow too. And so you don't want to be handing off things that you're not quite good at. It just doesn't go well.
Right. So as a CEO, you kind of need to be a jack of all trades. You don't need to be a master at everything, but you do need to have a level of understanding of everything so that when it comes to delegating it, you have enough understanding to hire someone who's actually better than you because you have set the bar and the bar's good enough. And then you can hire someone who's a little bit better than you to get it to 100%. And then also have a process and a system for them to take over and run and optimize over time. But so many practice owners are stuck because they're unwilling to get uncomfortable. They're to get over their own ego. And they delegate the most important components of what create a successful business. That's why you hire agency after agency after agency, when you would get way further and grow way faster if you took a step back, learned marketing, built a system, and then delegated the system you built, rather than trying to find someone else out there that you trust that's actually going to build it. Because we all know the odds of finding an agency that is actually going to help you scale to end goal of 7 figures is a really freaking low. Okay, you maybe have a 3 to 6 month window where they might work, but they're going to fizzle out, because that's how agencies are structured. They're not designed to be long-term services. Unless they're charging you 5K plus a month, unless they're charging you 5K a month, they need dozens of clients. And because they have dozens of clients, the time they have to give to you fizzles out over time. And that's why agencies suck. That's why we developed this system to train other practice owners how to do this stuff themselves, develop that skill set, build the system, and then how to delegate that system effectively in-house.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we do a done with you, not a done for you. And you don't want a done for you, because it's not done right.
It's never done right. It's never done right.
And the thing too is, like, the thing that I've had issues with agencies too is they just don't know your ideal avatar. Like, it's hard for them to really dial in the messaging, because they don't understand what we do and like who we help. And it was attracting like the absolute worst types of patients that we don't work with. Right. We're spending money to acquire these terrible leads of, like, we just overweight, inactive people that aren't motivated to get better. Like, that's who's looking for ultrasound and E-stem. It's like, it's not what we do. Like, we had one agency, like, on their ads, like, yeah, we have E-stem and ultrasound. Like, well, one, no, we don't. Two, you didn't even ask if that's what we do. They're just like, we just search generic physical therapy and then slap some of the wording on the ads, and so that's a really bad story of what happened, but it is something that does happen. So it's just, yeah, that's why you want it done with you, not done.
Right. It takes longer and it is harder to do the uncertain thing. But I think we can all agree that the easy way is very rarely the right way that's going to get the long-term result that you want. And so it is always better to do the hard thing, the uncertain thing, to develop the skill, to handle the discomfort, because it's that discomfort that is going to turn you into the CEO and business owner that you actually want to be. And so avoid certainty. Lean into growth, which comes from discomfort and trying new and challenging things. And the rate in which you're able to do that is going to determine how quickly you grow and how successful you are. So let go of control. It's not serving you. If you want control, go get a job. That's plenty of control, plenty of certainty. But if you want to win in this game, change your relationship with uncertainty and risk and lean into it. Because at the end of the day, worst case scenario is really not that bad.
Yeah, you might be having certainty with a job, but you could also have increased certainty that you're going to die unfulfilled and wondering what else could I have done. So there's certainty on two folds of that.
Right. So ask yourself right now, what is comfort and complacency costing you right now? Where are you at in terms of revenue? Where do you actually want to be? And what is the opportunity cost that you've been sitting at for the last couple months or years by not challenging yourself and either investing in something or taking a bigger risk to help get yourself there faster? Because if you're stuck at 20 and you've been trying to get to 50 for the last year, that's $30,000 a month that it's costing you to not know how to do that. Over the span of a year, what is that, $360,000? $360,000 a year. It's costing you to not have the skill set to be able to be and have a $50,000 a month practice. And the way you make decisions, the way you think, all of that has gotten you to where you are right now. And so it's fair to say, in order to get to that next level, you're going to have to change the way you think. You're going to have to change the way you make decisions. And you're going to have to take bigger risks than you have before. Because hoping and praying that every month things are going to just grow and one day you'll get there, it's costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're not helping hundreds of people that you could have helped. And you are completely changing the growth trajectory of the life that you're able to provide yourself and your family.
Yeah, there's no better plan to start than now either.
Right.
Yeah,
get uncomfortable, people. If you got value out of this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have questions, drop them below. If you're struggling to make a decision and betting on yourself, just know that that's perfectly normal. You need a tribe of people around you to help you bet on yourself, who believe in you even more than you do. That is absolutely crucial. I think Ben and I both agree that we wouldn't have taken the risks that we've had if we didn't have great people in our life who are further ahead than us that gave us the conviction that if they can do it, we can do it. And so we're going to take this journey. jump. And so if you need that tribe of people, if you're looking for a little bit of support in doing the difficult thing and challenging yourself, drop a comment. We'd be happy to talk to you, give you some advice and some encouragement to take that next step to help you get to the next level. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll catch you next week.
See you guys.